Why do you enjoy stories? Is it the feeling of catharsis at the climax and resolution of a masterfully crafted arc? Is it the engaging action that keeps you alert and attentive? Is it the projection of yourself onto an alternative reality where you made different choices and became a different person? These are all reasonable answers, but I personally enjoy stories for the most fundamental reason of all: characters. All of the previously mentioned elements can be present in character pieces, but my attachment to the characters dictates my level of investment in the engaging action and in their resolutions. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are both phenomenal shows, and both are superior in their own ways. However, when it comes to the intricacy of characters, Better Call Saul reigns supreme. Breaking Bad inhabits a world of gods: Heisenberg, Gus, Tuco, Jack, and his gang. These people are playing archetypal and fundamental characters. Heisenberg becomes the king of an empire, striking resemblances with classic Greek myths and millennia-old tales. Furthermore, we know Walt's motivations from the outset of the show. He is a humble high school teacher who dreamed of more and tries to claim it. On the way to greatness, he loses himself and becomes a monster, unrecognizable from his initial self. It's clear and transparent, and while the details may provide intricate layering, it's a straightforward premise to digest. Better Call Saul is quite the polar opposite. Even as a person who's sat with these characters for nearly 6 full seasons, I have found myself hypothesizing why. As our characters continue down Bad Choice Road, it left viewers stumped. Why throw away this amazing job? Why cheat and scheme this way? This may sound frustrating, or like I'm hinting at a fundamental flaw in the show's writing, but I'm saying precisely the opposite. This genuine introspection and mystery is the core element of this show. We are given disparate pieces, seemingly unrelated, yet over the years come to understand why characters make the choices they do. Attentive eyes will love this show. There tend to be drawn-out scenes of characters acting with no dialogue, leisurely meandering from room to room. People complain of pacing issues when such scenes become prevalent, but I implore these individuals to view with an active mind. While there might not be action on the screen, there is consistently clues and visual details. Some may be hinting at a greater conspiracy, some may be indicating a character's intentions, and some might betray an emotional state not explicitly stated for the viewer. Season 6A particularly was called a slow-paced piece, and while I superficially understand the observation, one must consider the attention to detail placed in each scene. A perfect example of this is the master plan Jimmy and Kim are intending on executing. We see post-it notes plastered behind a painting, and each one indicates a future event. We are given morsels of possibilities with each image, and some viewers may even piece the references together. But the writers will rearrange all of our presuppositions into something more bombastic and mind-bending than we theorized. Watching back again recontextualizes everything we've seen in a new and satisfying light. There are no easy answers in this show, for our characters or as viewers. We cannot simply categorize these characters into a box and move on. It's a dynamic story where every moment sees new potential in life breathed into our heroes. Better Call Saul understands that the medium provides restraints on your packaging, but also provides opportunity. For example, in a book, you can just write down what a character is thinking, but how do you do that with a TV show? Using voiceovers is cliche and somewhat lazy, so how do we indicate thoughts without dialogue? Characters in Better Call Saul regularly indicate their intent based on something that they see. If a character sees a leaky faucet and responds with a curious and conspiring facial expression, note this because we know now that they have some plan to do with water. Every shared detail has a purpose. This is genius because it allows the viewer to become a detective. Is there a specific reason this character thought of this idea? Why does it make sense, and how will they use it? I find Better Call Saul works best as a very attentive, active viewer, as the more you invest, the more you get in return. Generally speaking though, beyond visual gimmicks such as the attachment of cameras to strange things like garage doors, the visual stylization has seen an upgrade from Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad featured beautiful scenic vistas of the New Mexican desert, but this show seems to find a way to use wide lenses to capture any environment in some sort of magical light. Even if it's a mediocre diner, you can see the bustling nature of the business, or lack thereof. You can see the shadows cast on shady figures' faces. You can see their faded tattoos. You can see the colors put into the menus, the attentiveness of the waitresses. Shots are meticulously calculated, yet creative and wondrous, striking an artistic vision unlike any other television show. They squeeze the absolute most that anybody could out of the medium of television, and do all of this with a much less grand story. The show also adds to the Breaking Bad universe. Actually, even more than that, it improves on it. Better Call Saul has deepened my appreciation for the Breaking Bad show itself and given myself a new light to view old characters. I see the moral complexity of the situations these characters are in and how their winding road of backstory intertwines with their future. It masterfully weaves together genres from thriller to comedy to legal thriller to western to mystery. Breaking Bad had phenomenal comedy, but the writing of the comedy in this show is even more witty, more inspired, and more creative. The tension is more visceral, more guttural, and wince-inducing, particularly in the later seasons. You can see the shows begin to converge into a similar tone now, and as this happens, the tense scenes of Better Call Saul build on the masterful filmmaking of Breaking Bad. I found myself engaged in a roller coaster of emotions through the first half of season 6, from worry to panic, from unease to relief, from anger to joy, to laughter, and more. Balancing these tones seems like an impossible task, and perhaps it is, but it's accomplished in my mind, somehow. But why are less people watching? The hook of Better Call Saul is not quite as strong. High school teacher turned drug lord instantly hooks an audience. What can you say that quickly for Better Call Saul that will grab everyone? I'm not certain. This surely accounts for the majority of the discrepancy between the two shows and their audiences. Well, perhaps. Perhaps it's the saturation in the market of fantastic television and too many places for viewers to go. Better Call Saul has detractors who think it's too slow to keep an audience engaged, and that could certainly be a contributing factor. I personally hope that as the final season is finishing, word of mouth, hype, and excitement builds to a point where the show finally gets the credit it deserves. It certainly will have longevity, as quality such as this will only thrive over time. Maybe this video is my contribution to the hope that this show will become more to the average person. As for me, I instantly bought it at full price because I think it might be the best show of all time. It may even be better than Breaking Bad, and it may not. We will have to see the final 6 episodes to find out for sure. But until then, I can safely say that this show is amongst the top echelon of not just television, but of stories of any form.